Picture a simple hardware screw. Value, maybe 5 cents at Home Depot. Now accelerate that screw to 17,500 miles per hour. At that speed, it's not a screw anymore. It's a hand grenade. Now, imagine that screw hitting the International Space Station. The damage? It's not just about lives. It's about vaporizing a $100 billion asset in a fraction of a second. Welcome to the most expensive junkyard in human history. Today, we aren't talking about saving the environment for the sake of the trees. We're talking about risk management. Because if we don't clean up this mess, Earth becomes a prison and the global economy hits a brick wall.
We call it space junk. Sounds harmless, right? Like a soda can on the side of the highway. Dead wrong. We're talking about spent rocket stages, dead satellites, and even flecks of paint. According to the ESA, there are over 1 million objects larger than a centimeter orbiting right above your head. In low Earth orbit, kinetic energy is king. A paint chip can crack a shuttle window. These aren't pieces of trash, they are unmanned bullets. Back in '78, NASA scientist Donald Kessler proposed a theory that keeps underwriters awake at night, the Kessler Syndrome. One collision creates debris. That debris hits another satellite, creating more debris. A cascade effect, exponential growth. The result? A shell of shrapnel locking us inside the planet. No rockets out, no GPS, no Starlink, no weather forecasting. And you can kiss Elon's dream of Mars goodbye. We'd be trapped on this rock indefinitely. Think I'm fear-mongering? It's already happened. 2009, a functional U.S. commercial satellite, Iridium 33, slammed into a defunct Russian military satellite, Cosmos 2251. Impact speed, 26,000 miles per hour. Result? Thousands of new pieces of shrapnel turned low Earth orbit into a minefield. This was the wake-up call. Space isn't big enough for everyone anymore.
Let's talk money. The space economy is projected to hit $1 trillion by 2040. Starlink, Amazon's Project Kuiper. We are launching tens of thousands of satellites. In business terms, these are high-value assets. And wherever you have high-risk assets, you have a massive, lucrative industry lurking in the shadows. Insurance.
Space insurance isn't like your GICO car policy. This is a specialized game for the big boys. Historically, you bought launch insurance. If the rocket blows up on the pad, you get paid. But now, the demand for in-orbit liability is exploding. Why? Because if your dead satellite drifts and smashes into someone else's billion-dollar hardware, you could be sued into bankruptcy. Underwriters are sweating bullets. How do you calculate a premium when the probability of a collision increases exponentially every year? Premiums are skyrocketing. Some insurers are now threatening to exit the LEO market entirely unless satellites have self-destruct or deorbiting capabilities. The risk is becoming uninsurable. The margins are too thin. Here's where it gets political. Who made the mess? History points the finger at the USA and Russia, formerly the USSR. They've been dumping hardware up there for 60 years. More recently, China joined the party. Show chart. But now, emerging nations and private companies are forced to navigate a minefield left behind by the superpowers. In risk management, we have the polluter pays principle. But in space, the law is the Wild West. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty is outdated. If a piece of Soviet-era junk hits a U.S. commercial satellite today, is modern Russia liable, or is it an act of God? International lawyers are billing thousands of dollars an hour arguing over this right now. Imagine moving into a new apartment, but the previous tenant left it filled with toxic waste. Then the landlord demands you chip in for the cleaning fee. Emerging nations argue the US and Russia got rich exploiting space. They should pay to clean it up. The US argues, no, space is a shared resource. Everyone pays. It's a diplomatic stalemate. But as they say on Wall Street, crisis creates opportunity. Enter the orbital sanitation industry. Startups like Astroscale, Japan, UK, and ClearSpace, Swiss, are raising hundreds of millions in venture capital. Their mission? To become the garbage men of the galaxy. And business is about to boom. How do they do it? It sounds like a movie. 1. Giant nets to capture satellites. 2. Magnetic grappling hooks. 3. Ground-based lasers to nudge debris into the atmosphere to burn up.
The servicing
4.
satellite
Harpoons.
begins its final
Yes,
approach,
literal space
extending
harpoons.
the robotic arm
This
for
tech
capture.
is being tested in orbit right now. But who signs the check? Right now, governments via grants. In the future, insurance companies. Insurers might mandate satellite operators to subscribe to an emergency removal service as part of their policy. Just like AAA for your car, but for rockets. That is where the smart money is flowing. Uncle Sam is finally stepping in. The FCC recently dropped the hammer. New rules require LEO satellites to deorbit within 5 years of mission end, down from the old 25-year standard. Don't comply? You don't get a launch license. This is the stick that forces the market to adopt better risk management strategies. Let's look at the dark side. If you have a satellite capable of grabbing a piece of trash and dragging it out of orbit, you also have a satellite capable of grabbing an enemy spy satellite and dragging it out of orbit. Debris removal is a dual-use technology. It's essentially an anti-satellite weapon in disguise. Do you think Russia will let a US cleanup bot get close to their military hardware? Not a chance. Billionaires want to sell you a ticket to space. But remember that screw from part 1? Nobody is going to pay $250,000 for a ticket if the chance of a collision is 1 in 1,000. Space tourism is dead on arrival if we don't solve the debris problem. The liability insurance for passengers would be astronomical, pun intended. In economics, this is the classic tragedy of the commons. Space is a shared resource. Everyone wants to exploit it, but nobody wants to pay to maintain it. If the US cleans it up, China benefits for free, the free rider problem. Until we have a binding global treaty, everyone is just staring at each other, waiting for the other guy to blink. So, where should you look to invest? In my opinion, the immediate gold rush isn't in cleaning, it's in data. Space Situational Awareness, SSA. Companies that provide real-time tracking of debris, like a Google Maps for space, will become the new tech giants. Selling the data to avoid the crash is just as valuable as cleaning it up. Look at companies like Leo Labs. We are at a tipping point. If the Kessler Syndrome goes full scale, we lose 50 years of technological progress. No global internet, no precision agriculture, financial markets disconnected. The economic damage would be in the trillions. This isn't sci-fi anymore. This is the most urgent line item on humanity's balance sheet. So I want to hear from you. Should the US pay the bulk of the cleanup cost because they made the mess? Or should every country pay their fair share to access space? Drop a comment below. I read all of them. And if you want to see how asteroid mining could be the next $10 trillion industry, smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next episode of The Space Economy. Peace.